Hey there and welcome. You are listening to the Parkview Global Podcast. We are so excited for you to join the conversations between our global missions hosts and our amazing guests. Don't forget to follow our social media accounts at Parkview Global. Now, enjoy the podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Parkview Global Podcast. My name is Bill Carroll, and I am the global pastor at Parkview Christian Church right outside of Chicago. I am also joined by Christy Mullen, our Africa coordinator.
Hello, everyone.
We want to invite you to follow along with us as we welcome a different one of our global partners every month. Today, we welcome two really great people to the podcast, Gabby and Kerlyn Pena. Kerlyn, also known as KP. They work with a ministry called Mission Zoom and planted a church in the city of Tamboril in the Dominican Republic. The church's name is El Aposento, although it sounds much cooler when they say it, you'll see. And this church has one of the coolest target audiences ever. But I will let them tell you all about that. Welcome, Gabby and KP.
Hi. Good to be here, guys.
And super cool that, big year for you guys. Congratulations on the birth of your first son, Rio.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
That's awesome. 3 months old now, right?
2.5. 2.5. Yeah.
2.5. Close enough. Fantastic. Awesome. Good. Well, we just can't wait to hear your story and so glad to talk to you guys. So let's just go from the beginning. KP, you grew up in Tamboril. So tell us about the city and what makes the city so special.
Yes. We live in Tamboril. And what makes the city so special is that, right as you go into the city, in the main entrance of the city, you'll see a big sign that says Cigar Capital of the World. So that's what makes our city special. It's because out of 100 cigars, about 65, if not more of them, are made here in our town. So
okay, wait. So out of all the cigars in the world, 65% of all the cigars in the world come from the city you live in, Tamboril.
Exactly. It's a bunch of
crazy.
Yeah, a bunch of the big main brands are just concentrated in our town. The reason behind it is because cigar making is a generational job. So it's just usually taught by your parents or your grandfather or an uncle. They teach you how to make a cigar. And you can't really go to school for it, right? And so it's a generational job to make cigars. So that's why it's concentrated here in Tamboril. So it's pretty cool. So Tamboril is about 102,000 people in population, and over 81% of them are somehow involved in the cigar making. So it can mean
80% of the population of 100,000 are involved in the factories, the cigar making process.
In the cigar making process.
Wow.
It can mean from rolling the cigars to preparing the leaves to packaging the cigars to go, all over the world. So yeah, it's let me tell you, it's a pretty cool town to live in, for sure.
Yeah, right. Nice.
Yes.
And Gabby, we know you're a Parkview girl and you grew up here. Yeah. Then you felt called to go to the DR, and tell us a little bit about how you wound up in Tamboril.
Well, first, I know everybody loves the romance story, but that is not probably to the Dominican. I've spoken to a lot of young people, and I know the word call can kind of be intimidating. You expect this loud, audible voice from God, and that's not always the case. I went to the Dominican with Parkview. That was my first international mission trip. Nice. And I thought, I'll go to the Dominican first and then I'll end up in Africa. That was the mission thing to do. Well, silly me, God had different plans for me. And so I came and reconnected with Tamboril on that trip also. And I learned about the country and the people, and I couldn't shake the things that I had heard and the relationships that I met and my experience. I couldn't shake it from my mind. And so I went back and I prayed some more, and I talked to family and friends, and I came back to the Dominican then for a longer period of time to see, like, okay, is this really where I should be? And loved it. It only was a greater affirmation. And so then I made the move. I finished college and made the move, and everything went so smoothly, which just was, again, affirmation for me, like, okay, this is where I'm meant to be.
That's awesome.
Yes. So fast forward then. I mean, you guys met and you got married and you do ministry together. So tell us the story of the church of El Aposento.
So it was a vision of ours for a long time, and so all we wanted to do was just make it simple for people. Just we wanted to create an environment where people would just come as they are and feel welcomed no matter what. And so since the beginning, we wanted to make it in a way that wasn't very churchy. I mean, if you want to say it like that, we wanted to do it in a way.
Like a living room style.
Exactly, like a living room style. So how we kind of like started it is that we really fell in love with the early church, and what it meant to people. What that meant to people, and we, were reading one day Luke 22:8, when Jesus sends John and Peter to look for this place, right? Uh, this room. Um, and he tells them, as you enter the city, a man carrying a jar of water will meet you. Follow him to the house that he enters, and say to the owner of the house, the teacher asks, where's the guest room, where I may eat the Passover with my disciples? He will show you a large room upstairs, all furnished. Make preparations there. So we kind of like took it and just try to imagine that room, being furnished and nice. Um, and so we just saw that room became the center for the disciples. It became the first church, and that became the place where they, celebrated together, where they mourned together, where they cried with each other together, where they learned from each other, where they, everything. It just became the a refuge for them. So we did it exactly like that. Our church looks like a big, huge living room, and people can come and we just want to recreate what the first church looked like with the disciples.
That's super cool too, because after visiting you guys, like your meeting space is on the second floor, and it does look like a giant living room.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
So you literally will never be able to meet on the first floor of a building ever because it would change the name.
Right. Exactly. We can't.
So churches in the DR, and especially in Tamboril, working with the cigar factories and everything else, it's kind of a complex deal because I know when I visited you guys, you talked about, I mean, they a lot of churches were asking cigar factory workers to join the church. They had to leave their jobs, correct?
Yeah. So there is a lot of taboos in the Protestant church. It's a long story on how we got here. Um, there's just basically a lot of misinterpretations of the Bible, or what a Christian should look like, or what a Christian should be like. There's already rules being set way before you become a Christian. So people have this perspective already of the Jesus that has been presented to them. And a lot of it has to do with um, our country. It's a Catholic country, um, and so people, uh, you know, because we're a Catholic country, Protestant they have tried to push away themselves as far as they can from the Catholic culture, to let people know, oh no, we're not the same. So that creates a lot of different taboos and rules and different things, rules, trying to let people know, oh no, we're not the same, you know. And so, like for example, in a lot of the churches here, you got to dress a certain way. You can't dance. You have to have your hairstyle um, in a certain way, or you can't drink, or you can't smoke, stuff like that. And so, as soon as somebody thinks about Christians, like Protestants here, they think about those rules immediately. Oh, like that means that if I become one of them, I cannot do any of those. So it's that mindset more or less that people have here.
So you have that environment of a lot of those kind of churches. So what made El Aposento different?
So one of the things that we wanted to do was try to change people's mindset when they think about being, when they think, oh, being a Christian, what being a Christian means. Um, uh, we wanted El Aposento to be, uh, as I said in the beginning, just a come as you are. Um, don't You don't have to meet these certain standards um, to be able to be part of the family of Jesus, right?
Good.
You don't
Yeah.
have to. You don't have to become a perfect person before getting baptized. It's a process, right? Um, Also, you also have a life to live, right? You you know we can't have you in the building five times a week. You don't have to. We want we want you to spend time with your family. We want you to care about your people too, your job, and you know we just wanted to let people know that having a relationship with Jesus is much more simpler than what has been presented to them before.
Good.
So,
It's
that's what we created. We wanted to let people know it's more chill than what you think.
Yeah.
Well, having gotten to visit, so tell us what a gathering looks like now. Because I know you guys drive around and pick up a million kids, and tell us about tell us about the people that make up El Aposento now.
So, it's pretty cool, actually. We wanted to make it um, a space where they can be themselves, right? And they can um, also be able to be just free, right? And so how it looks like right now is that, of course, yeah, we pick up a million kids. Gabby picks up a million kids in the car, and we all just show up. Kids have their room. Um,
Traffic laws are not as serious
Right.
here, so we can pile in 15 kids
Nice.
and squeeze as many as we can.
Right. And so people get there. As we said, we have a big living room. And so we just have fellowship time. We talk to each other. We just talk to each other about our weeks, how's life going. And after that, we just have a little, worship time, singing some songs. And then we have what we call just a conversational sermon. I bring out some subject and we just discuss it,
And everybody's allowed to participate. Like if
Right.
they have a comment on it or if they have a question, they
Right.
can chime in.
Right. So that makes it more like it changes the environment because everybody's just like hanging out in a room talking about a subject.
Love it.
And after that, we just eat together every time.
Love it.
We have some kind of small meal together, sharing. We just go back to fellowship and just being with each other, and we don't have an end in time. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
So people sometimes, most of the time, stay with us hanging out, talking, wishing everybody else a good week, and it's that kind of environment. It's very chill.
Very family like.
Yeah.
Like a living room. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Exactly.
So you mentioned that that all the people that are coming are, from the cigar factories. Can you tell us a little bit more about what a day in the life of a cigar factory worker looks like?
Yeah.
What kind of challenges do they face each
Yeah.
day?
Yeah. So, the average family would have both parents work at a cigar factory. Um, so, you could think only sometimes, oh, it's only the man that works in the cigar factory. But no, actually,
Men and women.
men and
yeah.
women are on it, man. So, most of the cigar factories start working at 7 in the morning. So people leave to work in their factories. Um, and they work usually from 6 or 7 in the morning, mostly 7, all the way until 4 in the afternoon, making cigars all day long. And so each pair makes at least 500 cigars per day.
Wow.
So yeah, that's more than what we can smoke in a year, probably.
When you talk about pairs, do they work as a team?
Mhm.
Like, does each family
Yeah,
work as a
so
team?
yeah, so one cigar is made by 2 people, because one does the flavoring and the filling and uh, yeah, the blend, and the other one does the art, which is put the wrapper on
Make
top,
it look good.
make it look good, exactly. So yeah, pairs of 2. So yeah, and so the particular thing about a cigar worker, and so they do that 5 days a week from Monday to Friday. And the particular thing about a cigar worker is that they get paid weekly, right? So they get paid every Friday afternoon. So banks are crazy Fridays afternoon.
The lines are just like wrapped around.
Right,
Wow.
right. So I think that when you talked about Christy, when you talked about challenges, one of the challenges that we see often is financial for them. A lot of some of the workers get paid a good amount of money, and so, but most of them don't. They usually live in the house with 5 to 10 other people on
Wow.
average, and to be able to maintain and keep up with that, it's hard by just making cigars. And the other thing too is that of the challenges that we see is they get paid weekly, right? So that creates a mindset of, okay, next Friday, what am I going to do next Friday? And so that leaves a gap when it comes to um, uh, administrating their financials,
Yeah.
right? It's harder, because you
Always thinking in the
and
short term. Is that what you mean?
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. What we have seen is that it creates a mentality of what am I gonna do with my money next Friday? It doesn't let you go,
It doesn't let you dream.
it doesn't let you dream,
Wow.
right?
Term.
Wow.
So like they don't think about what can I do next month or next
How can
year.
I save a little bit that can help later on,
Right, right. So the ability to dream and just become whoever you want to become. In some cases, they have dreams, but they just can't think ahead like they would like to. So those are some of the social challenges that we see here in Tamboril.
Yeah.
Um,
The process of cigar making is beautiful. Like I was so fun to walk with you guys.
it- it-
We'll include some pictures from the factories in the show notes so you guys can see what it looks like.
oh, sweet.
Yeah, it's just super cool. We love stories, guys. So would you both tell us one of your favorite stories of life change that you've seen God do in someone in Tamboril?
Yeah. So I'm not gonna say her name. Just if you come on a visit and she decides to tell her story, great. But she's So there's this woman that she comes to El Aposento, but before that, um, she lived kind of a wild lifestyle. Was in drugs and drinking and partying all night, and her family life was a mess. There's a lot of guilt, kind of like how she was with her children, and just in that lifestyle. And then started. She felt like she was just as far away from God as she could be. And then she started coming to El Aposento and like fell in love with it and loved being with like she loves being with people. And it's crazy because we could see little by little. There's days that she would show up on a Sunday and be hungover or didn't go to sleep, and but we didn't say anything. It's just, hi, how are you? Like, welcome. And then little by little, like, her relationship with God just grew so profound, and now she's become like the peacemaker of the church, like the one that kind of like holds everybody together and makes sure everything is like happy and positive. And one major thing that she said to Kerlyn was, because of my lifestyle and like what I do and everything, I felt like I couldn't have a relationship with God.
Wow.
And so has has just been the greatest thing for me, because now I can have a relationship with God, and I know I can have a relationship with God when I thought it would just never happen for me. And so that's just the greatest blessing.
Love
to
it.
hear
Yeah.
something
Love
like
it.
And it goes back to the journey that you guys talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Of the whole
Yeah,
process. It's a
yeah.
journey. Yeah.
I have a friend too. So I grew up coming to a church here in Tamboril, and we went to church together. He was a musician at the church, and so I was, and so we had this bond, and we didn't keep in touch for a while. And when I came up to Tamboril to plant the church, to start the process of planting the church, we saw each other again at a basketball game. And listen, that was a really special moment. We caught up in life. It was beautiful. Um, later on, he became one of the advocates for Aposento, even though it didn't exist yet. He knew the idea, he knew what we wanted, um, and he just became an advocate. Uh, but he wasn't his life wasn't perfect. He was struggling with a lot of things. Uh, I think one of the biggest one being gambling, and so uh, he became part of Aposento. He became an advocate for Aposento, and he became one of the leaders of Aposento. And he was still not even like committed to Christ. And so uh, this is when we saw like, okay, the Holy Spirit is working on people here,
Nice.
because he started to work on his gambling. You know, I helped him as much as I could, until the point that he came to me crying one day and said, like, Kerlyn, I don't know what has happened to my life, but it has changed since I started coming to Aposento,
Wow.
since I started being part of it. And it's been all little by little. It wasn't something that happened like, like
overnight.
overnight. And he told me crying with, tears in his eyes. He said, like, I want to get baptized. I
Wow.
want to get baptized.
Awesome.
And so, those stories like that, and like Gabby said, he didn't have a clue that he could be a Christian, because his life was just a mess. He's a cigar roller, and so in his mindset, he's one of the examples of people that never thought that they could have a relationship with Christ.
Right.
You know, so those stories that just make us keep going, and they're just beautiful.
Love it.
They are beautiful. That is so beautiful. And so you guys are on
Yeah.
this journey, and you were talking earlier about dreaming.
Yeah.
So what is your
Yeah.
what is your dream? Where do you guys see your church going in the future? What are your plans?
Yeah. So we one of the things that we have really always talked about and kind of like set foot on is that we want to be a really organic church. Um, we want our church, our community, to grow, not because we push it to, but because they want to grow. Um, and so, right now we have a one of the things that we're doing is that we have a basketball league on Saturdays, Aposento Basketball League. It's run by one of our members. It's totally organic, like it's running by itself. We don't do anything. He's passionate about it. He's part of Aposento, and
They meet on one of the local basketball courts,
yeah,
and he shows up every Saturday. The kids walk there and show up on, every Saturday.
right. And so, he's got 40, 50, 60 kids every Saturday going to play basketball. And I come in and usually, share something uh, about God with them. And it all happened just so organically. These kids, most of them, they don't even come to church, but the church is going to them, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to them. We want all to happen like that. We also have a partnership with a cigar brand that is providing um, eyeglasses
Yeah.
for kids that have disabilities with their eyes. And so through their brand and through Aposento, we came together and we're providing free glasses with a doctor, of course, an eye doctor, for them to be able to see better. Um, and so we're looking to, when we see the future, we just want to keep doing stuff like that. These are things that are, you know, they're not, they don't require money or a lot of money. They don't require um, for us to like just be pushing it. They just happen naturally, right? Um, and so, at our future, what we want to see is sustainability.
Good.
We want it to be a place in which if we leave, it keeps going, right? It continues.
That we're not leading everything.
Right.
People that go to Appleton, they're leading things in their own community.
Right. We're just here to help, and we're here for people, but we want to empower the people that we know to do what they want.
Good.
That's beautiful.
Find their own way to serve the
Yeah.
city.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nice.
Exactly. At the end of the day, it's all about bringing people back to God,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Bringing people to Jesus. So that's our focus.
Love it.
Uh,
So you guys are you're leading a life on mission for sure, and you're helping other people to get to theirs. But there's people out there that Gabby, you talked about like the DR being your first trip. There's people that want to go, but they don't know, am I being called? Am I going to hear a loud audible voice? Like, what kind of advice would you give people who are out there that are thinking about going, but just don't know what steps to take? What would you offer them?
Yeah. I would say you have to have a willingness for sure. Don't overthink it. If you're thinking about going on a mission trip or serving somewhere, international or locally, ask people that maybe already serve, like, hey, what's your experience? Always have a willingness to learn. And then when serving, don't have a mindset that you're going to save or you're going to fix things. Um, because you're not. It's not your job. But and when you do that, then you're going to see that there is going to just be this natural change in you and in the people around you, and it's just going to happen naturally. So just have a willingness, ask questions, be willing to learn, and then just jump in because God calls all of us to be on mission somewhere. So just jump in.
Love it.
yeah.
I love what you guys are doing too because it is so local and like not everybody's gonna be the first ones to decide to move to the DR or whatever, but the fact that same way you guys are challenging your people, find the area that you love, basketball, the place was help with the Vision Center and stuff. Find your local place and find the way, use what God gave you and the opportunities God gave you
Yes,
to serve
exactly.
people where you're at. I love that.
Definitely.
So last thing, guys, how can people who are listening pray for you guys and the church?
Well, we just welcomed the son,
Yay.
as you said earlier. So with that, we even before Rio was born, we've always wanted to be an example of just like a Christ-centered couple, a Christ-centered family to other families and the people here. And so just praying that we are always on that path and can always set an example in that way. And then also because of the taboos of like what a Christian should look like, sometimes the people that come to Aposento, they're like, oh, well, if I invite my friends, then they're going to think that I'm this certain way. And so we want to pray that they will just be totally unashamed to share their relationship with Jesus and to share that, like, no, it's a lot simpler. You can have a relationship with Jesus. It doesn't have to look this way. And then also just direction for like future ministry development and opportunities.
Yeah, and we also want to create an impact in the community, not only on the people, but also on other churches, right? Like at the end of the day, we're one body. We're supposed to do the same job, So like we pray all the time that other churches will also take their mindset off their head that cigar workers cannot be Christians. Like at the end of the day, we want other churches to just let it go a little bit and
to realize that everybody is welcomed into the family of God.
Exactly.
Everybody.
Absolutely.
So those are our prayers.
Yeah. We'll be praying for you. That's awesome. You guys, you're doing amazing work.
We are proud to be partners with you guys.
Totally. So thank you so much for your passion and your time today and just sharing your heart. You guys are doing amazing things. And like Bill said, we're so excited to be part of it. We want to let our listeners know that we'll have all your information and some pictures of you guys and the baby.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I love Parkview, and I am somebody from the States living here, so I'm always open. Like if anybody has questions about missions,
thank you.
Love that.
Reach out.
So if you want to talk to a real missionary for free, you can email Gabby.
Yeah.
Gabby.
We'll include Gabby's email in the show notes. You can ask her questions. You want to do a shout out to your family, Gabby, while you're on?
My parents are Christina and Mike Tucker. They're awesome. So much fun. You can ask them lots of questions too.
And we have good friends.
Yeah, we have good friends. K-Dot, Corey, Allison. Lots of friends.
Lots of friends.
We love
Nice.
We do too. We love you guys. Thanks so much, you guys.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. We will catch you next week for another interview with one of our global partners. And thank you so much, Peñas. God bless.
Thanks.
God bless. Bye.